بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما صل على محمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي ولي الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على الخير الأمل حي على الخير الأمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي كان موجودا قبل حدوث الأشياء ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووسم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم كما قال عز شان كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت وقال كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف النيات ولا يعزب عنه معاصي العباد في الخلوات سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خير يراه ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شر يراه نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحمه من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء تعذيبه المسيئين عدل وعفوه تفضل ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين وخير المبشرين ومنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين من ركب سفينته نجا واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق وهوى أوصيكم عباد الله بالاعتصام بالتقوى فإنه حبل متين وأروة الوثقى فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات بجي محمد وعلى محمد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I begin by advising myself and all of you to practice the piety and the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as is the best of provisions. The verse that I recited is from chapter 30, Surah Rum, as well as ayat number 30. Easy to remember, 30. The Noble Quran introduces the human being as a creature endowed with God-seeking nature. That when you were born, you were created with this nature in you which demanded a higher superior being that you want to worship. That God-seeking nature is innate in every human being. So the ayah says, set your heart as a person of pure faith. So this religion, the original nature endowed by God, according to which he originated mankind, there's no altering in God's creation. You cannot go ahead and change the DNA or change anything from that innate nature and the fitrat of insan. That is the upright religion, but most people do not know. This noble verse indicates that the inclination toward monotheism and spirituality has been placed inherently within human nature. The family is the first environment, although, where the innate seed can either sprout and flourish or unfortunately be covered by the dust of neglect. What do I mean by that is that God created you on this innate nature inherently seeking to worship him. That is something which he created, he placed. But of course, there's a lot to do with the upbringing of an individual. When they are raised, this concept is there in their hearts, but the environment that they're brought up, the nature, then can be altered by the teachings and the upbringing of the parents. So therefore, there's a riwayat which says, كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولِدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ that every child is born on this nature. It is their parents who then change them into the different faiths and the religions and the ideologies. This hadith illustrates the serious responsibilities of the first environment providers. Who are the first providers of this environment? Of course, it will be the parents in either guiding the child along the path of their innate nature or diverting them from it. So they are the ones who hold that key role or that pivotal role in their life. But how should the family carry out this crucial duty? That is very important. Sometimes the religious identity is smeared with all the negativity that goes around with it, But inshallah, we'll conclude as to how important that religious identity is important. And in fact, the studies done by Harvard and other schools similar, that a person who's raised and brought up in a religious environment, their efficiency in many aspects of life, and not just their studies, is far superior than those who are not raised in a religious environment. With that said, a few, as you know, my discussion way is that inshallah I'll give you 4 or 5 pointers in this regard. How can we as parents play that role in our child's life so that they remain on the path which God has created them upon? Because there will be challenges in their life as they grow up. They're going to be facing a lot of challenges. They'll be facing the outside world, which will present ideas to them, and hence it is possible for them to adopt and go and follow those ideas. This is where the role of the parents, especially within that first 6 to 7 years, when they have the 100% influence on their kids, becomes that much important. Why? Because the next 7 years of their life, their influence is cut down to only 25%. Right? That's according to the riwayat of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And so you have 100% influence on your children in the first 7 years of their life. You can do whatever you want to. They consider you to be God. They don't have a concept of God at that moment. So you can shape them however you want to. But then the following 7 years, when they are exposed to the outside world, when they go to school, when they have friends now, peers, and of course, with the social media and televisions and other distractions that are out there, your influence will be cut down to only 25%. But this 25% will be okay as long as you were able to do your homework in the first 7 years of their life. So first aspect of this parenting then becomes emulation. The most effective method of transmitting values. You want to transmit these values to them. There's not an injection that you can inject into them, and then all of a sudden now they are full of these, equipped with all of these values that you hold true and you consider them to be great. A lot of time we consider many things to be great values in human life. But, for example, all of us will agree that we believe it's a great value to be righteous, truth-seeking, to never lie, to help those who are in need, and, etc. All of these are good values. You don't really need a religion to come and tell you that these are good values. But there's one thing that we believe in these things, and there's another thing that we perform and act it out. I believe it's bad to lie, but through my actions, I'm lying. I believe it's good to be righteous, but through my actions, I'm showing the complete opposite of it. So, most effective method of transmitting these values is children and adolescents are more influenced by the behavior of their parents than by their words. You can tell your child something repeatedly, they may listen or they may not listen, or they may listen forcibly. But the same thing that you're telling them through your tongue, if you act it out, show it through your actions, then that'll have a more impact on them and will be long-lasting for them. So therefore, if parents are practically committed to religious teachings, establishing prayer at its appointed time, giving importance to the recitation of Quran, for example, exhibiting honesty in their lives and trustworthiness in social interactions, and displaying good character, their children will unconsciously internalize these values. But you can keep telling them, my son, be righteous. My son, don't lie. My son, don't do this, stay away from this. Those are good. You keep telling them. But if they see the opposite in your character, then of course, how good is that value that you're trying to inculcate? That's why Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib said in Nahj al-Balagha, these are the short sayings in Nahj al-Balagha, number 73. He said, Man nasaba, or man nassaba nafsahu lin-nasi imaman, whoever sets himself as a leader for the people, so you are a leader in your household. الرجال قوامون على النساء. So you're leader in that household of yours, or community leader, or other. He says, whoever sets himself up as a leader for the people must begin teaching himself before teaching others. And his discipline, Imam says, should come through his conduct before it comes through his words. So if I don't prove through my conduct good character, standing over here saying all the good things will be meaningless. Why? Because, well, this person is saying and preaching through his tongue, through his lectures and through his tabligh, but we've seen him do the same thing himself. Lie so many times, be dishonest so many times, and do all those things which are against that which I am preaching. So there's a contradiction right there. This principle finds its clearest application within the family environment. Parents are the first imams and the role models for their children. So therefore, whatever they say, whatever they do, is something that becomes a leading path for them. Noble Quran too emphasizes the educational role of parents by presenting a living and inspiring examples of God-centered families. God-centered families. Families that God is revolving around them, right? They are revolving around God's, in the words. It's not something God comes only once in a while in their life, maybe when they get up to prayer. But outside of the prayer, when it comes to their business transaction, God has nothing to do over there. When it comes to interacting with their relatives, God has no role over there. When it comes to interacting within their social life, God has no role over there, for example. But here we see that, no, God-centered life is where you are keeping God all the way around in your life. So therefore, there's a famous story of Luqman in Quran. In fact, there's a chapter called Luqman in Quran, where ayat number 13, a clear model of religious upbringing conveyed through affection, wisdom, and practical guidance. That's the important aspect. Sometimes we just quote this ayat or these ayat of chapter Luqman without realizing the compassion behind how a father is speaking to his children, or his child for that matter. It's just the instructions we take. He tells them, Ya bunayya la tushrik billah inna shirka la zulmun azim. That, oh my son, do not associate partners with God. Indeed, it is a zulmun azim. It's an oppression, it's an injustice. Oh my son, do not walk on earth exultantly. You're not going to go ahead and press it down. Oh my son, do not do this or do not do this, or do not act arrogantly. All those instructions that I mentioned. We mention, which is of course the important part, the instructions, but we fail to understand sometimes how those instructions were given. That's the beauty that lies in it. You say, Ya bunayya. In Arabic, those Arabs sitting over here, they'll understand the word Ya bunayya is full of compassion. Sometimes you say, Ya ibni, oh my son. That is just a normal way of saying, oh my son. You don't really say, oh my son, but for example, if you say, oh my son, or you call them by their name. But then you make it into what is called in Arabic, tasghir. For example, from Hassan, you have Hussein, right? Hassan is beautiful. Hussein, small, in a smaller way, beautiful. And that's the best of the translation that I could have done on the go. But you get the point. Similarly, you have Ibni. From Ibni, you have Bunayya, showing further love and compassion. So every time he's giving this instruction, he's including what? That compassion in it. What do we see from the parents today? When they're giving instructions, they're shouting and they're yelling and they're screaming. That is contrary to what Islam, or any other religion for that matter, preaches when you go ahead and give these sort of instructions. So the continuation of Luqman's conversation with his son contains important lessons on prayer, morality, humility, patience, social conduct, all of which are the key elements in the religious identity. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. What is especially noteworthy is that these teachings arise within the warm atmosphere of the family, not through external force or societal pressure. On the other hand, Surah Tahrim is another example of family upbringing and family nurturing, or providing that love and compassion through instructions. The Quran presents two heavenly women in chapter Tahrim. One is the wife of the Pharaoh, right, Asiya. Second is mother of Jesus Christ, Mary or Maryam. These two heavenly women are mentioned with their traits, with their characteristics, and how they dealt with things that came about in their lives. And then on the contrary, 2 women of hellfire are also mentioned in the same chapter. It's a comparison that is being done. The wife of Noah and the wife of Lut alayhi salatu wasalam, illustrating that the family can either be a cradle for spiritual growth or a platform for downfall. Right? Over there, one is Pharaoh, but the wife becomes someone who's close to God. Rabbi, she makes this dua. Oh Allah, give me a house near, you in the paradise. Or give me najat from Pharaoh, for example. She's making this dua living in the same household. Same thing in regards to Lady Maryam, salamullah alayha. She faces so much backlash from the community that she is living in, or especially the Jews who tried to attack her character, for example. But she followed the instructions that were given to her, and she dealt with all of that. And then in that environment, how she rose, and Quran speaks about her what? Ya Maryam, inna Allah astafaki wa taharaki wa astafaki alal alamin. O Maryam, O Mary, we have purified you, we have chosen you, and then once again we purified you. Twice the word purified is mentioned in this very verse. And then on the contrary, in the household of Nabi Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam and Nabi Lut alayhi salatu wasalam, we find the 2 wives that are mentioned within this chapter are bound to hellfire or to downfall. Nevertheless, the direct influence of the family in shaping religious inclination is undeniable. It is something which is so important, so vital, and powerful. The second discussion on this end is the emphasis on the role of the father in strengthening the religious identity of children. A lot of time, especially, I can't speak about the Arab and the Iranian culture, but I can definitely speak about the Desi Indian Pakistani culture, where when men want to get away from something, they say, well, it's the mother's duty to raise the kids. It's mother's responsibility. If the kids go bad, right away the attack will be on the mom. So the emphasis that Islam lays and places on the father in strengthening the religious identity of the children. Noble Quran places the responsibility of religious upbringing of family members upon the guardian, especially the father. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum naran waquduha an-nas wal hijara. Says what? Oh, those who believe, protect your nafs, your souls, and your family from the fire which has been prepared for those who are bound to it. Here the address is to Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, mu'minin. And of course, a lot of time the word amanu is used for both men and women, but it's specifically mentioned for believing men, that it is your duty to protect your family from the fire which has been prepared for those who are prepared for. Therefore, you play that role in protecting them. The command to protect is not limited merely to fulfilling material needs, but rather includes proper religious and moral upbringing so that no one may be safeguarded from the fire of misguidance and the punishment of the hereafter. If I can just ask all of you to collectively take your phones out and put them on mute or turn them off for the remaining of the khutbah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. 10 different phones have gone off. So humbly speaking, once again, and also during salat, just make sure that they're off or just leave them in the car so that you're not even distracted, let alone everyone else is distracted by it. So, I don't know if you got the last point, but hopefully you did. Fourth Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin ﷺ said, emphasizing on the father's role. This is very important. He talks about the huquq, this Risalatul Huquq, or the treatise on the rights. He mentions, وَأَمَّا حَقُّ وَلَدِكَ. This is speaking to the father. And as far as the right of your child, O father, is concerned, it is that you should know he is from you, and that his good and bad in his fleeting, or rather fleeting world are attributed to you. You are responsible for his proper discipline, guiding him toward his Lord, and assisting him in obedience to God concerning both you and himself. For this, you will be rewarded, and for neglect, you will be punished. Okay? The extent a father has been given that responsibility. It does not get more clearer or crystal clear than what Imam says over here. Number 3, religious upbringing from childhood. Islamic narrations also emphasize the importance of religious upbringing beginning from the early years of life. Not when someone is 40 years old, 30 years old, 20 years old. Then you turn to religion, then you turn to Maulana, then you come to the center, then for the first time you're trying to teach your kid the religious values. Because Maulana has this stick, he'll strike, and it will have a magical impact on the children, and boom, they'll be all straightened up as far as their religious, well-being is concerned. No. So therefore, religious upbringing from childhood. Islamic narrations emphasize man wulida lahu mauludun falyu'adhin fi udunihi al-yumna walyuqim fi udunihi al-yusra fa innahu awdatan min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Whoever is granted a child, let him call the adhan in the right ear and the iqama in the left ear. Why? For this serves as the protection from the accursed shaitan. We all, mashallah, try that. What does that tell you? We do that as a cultural thing sometimes. Or maybe we do it as a religious thing. We call the Maulanas, we call the religious people in our family because some of us can't even give adhan and iqamat properly. So I'm giving this iqamat and adhan in the ear of my son. I don't want to make a mistake, saying the adhan proper or wrongfully, for example. So you call someone who can give adhan properly, you put the phone on their head. Sometimes they're a far distance. I've seen all that happen, actually. I've done it myself as well. So with that said, what is that message being given over here? The message that is being given over here, that you're starting from the time of birth. You don't wait for this. Aqiqah is 7 days later. You start from the time of birth. Here, the child is born with all the initial things that the doctors have to do when they bring the child into your hands for the first time. That is when you're commanded to go ahead and give this adhan in their right ears and iqamat in their left ear. That's how we understand the importance that is being given over here in this regard. This hadith illustrates that religious identity formation begins from the very moment of a child's birth, now when they're 20 years old. Upbringing, not mere instructions. A lot of times there's a focus on ta'aleem more than tarbiyat. Education, ta'aleem, education, But there's very little effort when it comes to raising and upbringing. One of the challenges in the religious upbringing within modern families is the excessive focus on the formal education while neglecting the living aspect of it, the practical training part of it. Religious identity is not something that can be transmitted merely through classes and books. You send them to schools, you teach them through the books, they memorize certain things and repeat it after you. No, rather it is primarily reflected in the conduct and role modeling of the parents. Sixth Imam, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq ﷺ said, "Kunu du'atan lil nasi bighayri alsinatikum." Guide people, do da'wah without using your tongue. Meaning what? Through your amal, through your actions. The child learns religion not just by instructions, but by living it. By observing the father performing prayer, mother's honesty, kindness in their speech, mutual respect for themselves in their homes. This is what is referred to influential upbringing, tarbiyat ta'thiri, as opposed to preaching-based upbringing. You're just giving instructions after instructions. And lastly, family communication skills and the role of affection. Religious upbringing progresses not through force. Nothing goes through with force and coercion. You can't force. You can only force someone to do certain things for a while, and then of course, they'll turn back. But through love and effective communication, this is where it'll have a long-lasting impact. Prophet of Islam, he said, "Ahibbu sibyana warhamuhum, wa idha wa'adtumuhum shay'an fa'awqu lahum." He says, love the children and show mercy to them. And when you promise something to them, fulfill it. If they know none other than you as your provider, as their provider. So when you promise something, even the smallest things that you're asking, if they ask for it, either be, sort of bureaucratic in your response. If you don't want to do it, sometimes you say, well, yeah, I'll get it to you, but You're trying to really run away from it. But when you promise something, yes, definitely I'll get it for you, even if it's the smallest thing, and you break that promise, that remains with them. Now, even if it was something very nominal, something which is worthless, not even worth anything, a couple of dollars. A toy, for example, they wanted. You promise, and now they keep this promise. My father will never break this promise. And then you say, well, no, I was just joking at that time. I'm not getting this to you. You're crazy. So this is where this sort of impact remains in their hearts, and they'll never forget. My father lied to me that time. My father misled me at that time. So the compassionate perspective creates a foundation for children to willingly receive religious guidance. If they see in your other conducts with the child showing love, compassion, keeping promises, and all that stuff, guess what? When it comes to the religious preaching, they will uphold those values as well. Lastly, religious identity in the face of contemporary challenges. We all are part of this. Contemporary challenges that we face through social media, through other things that impact us on day-to-day life. It's very difficult, especially when you live in a country where religion is considered to be poison, considered to be venom, considered to be something which is backward. People of the past who used to follow in God-type creature or God-type existence, that is not something for people in the 21st century. So in today's world, where media, schools, peers, and the digital sphere play a prominent role in shaping the identity of kids, adolescents, and our youth, the importance of the family becomes even more apparent. It cannot be illustrated more. If the family falls to actively contribute to formation of religious identity, this vacuum is quickly filled by other influences. If you're not doing this, there's a vacuum there. What will happen? This vacuum will not remain empty forever. Something else will replace your religious teachings over there. So therefore, other influences, if you want to save themselves, often with content that contradicts Islamic teachings. Lastly, religious upbringing is more than just the injection of information, as I said and alluded to it in the beginning. It requires an environment in which the adolescents can feel secure, valued, and meaningful. A successful religious family is the one that helps the child discover answers to life's big questions, not merely one that controls their behavior. So hopefully, we pay attention, especially in these days that we are going through understanding the tragedy of Karbala and the family structure of Imam Hussein and what we can derive from what he did. Hopefully, we're able to counter all the challenges that we face in today's society, contemporary life, as far as inculcating the religious values to our kids. Inna asl hadith wa ablagh al mu'idha kitabullah a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم وغافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته وذب وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها فعن السيئات ولم يجاز بها سبحان من لا يزداد ولا ماس لبعد إلا كرما وجودا ولا كثرة الذنوب إلا فوصف نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو لا طوف ولا لبعد بجوده ولا بعد المذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين بعثه رحمة للعالمين لقد أمركم الله في محكم كتابه بالصلاة على نبيه وحبيبه فقال تعليما لكم وتشريفا لصفيه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى إمام المسلمين وقائد الغر المحجلين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين وبدة خاتم النبيين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله صلوات الله عليها وعلى الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليه الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب الزمان ما هي آثار البدع والطغيان خادم أبنية الشرك والنفاق حاسد فروع البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه الكرام التسلط الليالي والأيام. اللهم عجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه واكحل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه واجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه وتفضل على أمراء المؤمنين بمزيد التوفيقات وازدياد الإقبال وعلو الدرجات. اللهم افعل بنا ما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهله بجاه محمد وآله المعصومين صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين. من يتقر وخطر ذكره إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفاحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائمة قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. وربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمد الله أكبر. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح جناب فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. All of us together. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة لابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعيدا حتى تسكنه أرزك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Let us recognize the sponsors for today's Jummah lunch. It is Mr. and Mrs. Nadeem Hassan Rizvi. Please recite a Surah Fatiha for their deceased relatives as well as your Surah Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. As-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Just an announcement for upcoming series of majalis. Saturday and Sunday, this coming Saturday and Sunday, July 12th and 13th. And the Silsila of Azadari will continue here in Masjid-e-Ali. We will have majalis starting at 6:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. So majlis will finish before Salatul Maghrib. Urdu majlis will be addressed by Maulana Syed Abidi, and English majlis simultaneously will take place, will be addressed by Maulana Zafar Abbas Naqvi. Please take part in this series of majalis, as inshallah throughout the month of Muharram and Safar, the majalis silsila will continue. Following week, when we commemorate the Shahadat of fourth Imam, we'll have a series of 4 majalis, and then continuing onwards toward the month of Safar. So this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, majalis will start at 6:30 p.m. with Quran and conclude with Namaz-e-Maghriban. Also, this Saturday, Anjuman-e Naujawanan Ali Akbar is inviting you for their 36th annual Shab-e-Dari, which will be Saturday, July 19th, next Saturday that is, which will be, with the Shahadat of our fourth Imam. Address will be by Sayyid Muhammad Jawad Qazwini, and of course, Shab-e-Dari, the schedule that it goes all the way till Fajr prayers. Following Saturday, inshallah, which will be July 26th, Imam Hussain Day will take place with the topic unyielding in faith, unwavering in truth. Great line of speakers this year. That program will start with Salat al-Dhuhr and of course concludes by 4 p.m. So do take part in all of these programs. Inshallah, we'll continue to announce them. Let us recite Surah Fatiha, or rather recite Dua Sehat for all of those people who are in need of dua, those who are suffering, struggling, going through difficult time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the barakat of these ayyam, give them quick shafa, inshallah, and recovery. All the people who are hurt in, here in Texas with the flooding, and all those people who are continuing to be persecuted in Palestine, in Gaza, and other parts of the world. Let us recite this ayah karima 5 times together. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu yakshifu as-su. 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 أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. Before we proceed to Salatul Asr, let me invite Dr. Aftab Hussain for a few words.
Assalamu alaikum. We have sent letters to some of you in regard to Qarz-e Hasna to give to the masjid, but it needs a little bit more explanation. Our loan right now is 2 million, and we are paying a lot of money in interest rate. So if we can reduce the amount of loan, we are asking some of you to give us a Qarz-e Hasna for 2 years, and we will give you a promissory note. And when we don't need it, I mean, at the end of 2 years or 1 year, whichever you have decided, we'll give you the money. There are several members who are sitting here who have gone through, and we have never defaulted on the promise. Now, during this period, if you need the money for any reason, without any questions, your money will be returned right away. So, the current balance is almost like 2 million. It is going down slowly. We raise the money during Muharram. We raise the money during the Ramadan and annual fundraising dinner. So every year it automatically keeps going down. But to send this letter and asking for the Qarz-e Husna is to reduce the interest that we are paying. So if you have some money which is sitting there, which you are not using, or you are not anticipating using it for 1 to 2 years, then please consider Qarz-e Hasna. You know the importance and the sawab of Qarz-e Hasna. I don't have to go into details about this. So who have received it, this WhatsApp message, you can reply by saying, yes, we'll consider the whole amount, or I can only do 5,000 or 10,000, so that's fine, whatever you can. And if you are unable to do it at this time, we understand, just, write me. And those people who have not received this message through the WhatsApp and you would like to participate in Qarz-e Hasna, you can approach any of us. And mashallah, I'm so happy to be a part of this community which is so generous. Let me tell you what commitments we already received so far. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So, the masjid is going to pay 125,000 extra towards principal. We have that. One of the board of directors is going to give out 50,000. 2 members, 200,000. Nare Salawat for those individuals. And I have received, good response, mashallah. When Maulana mentioned about the mobile phone, I remember this poster that was posted in a church. The poster found in a church in France. When you enter this church, it may be possible that you hear the call of God. However, it is unlikely that He will call you on your mobile. So thank you for turning off your phones. If you want to talk to God, enter and choose a quiet place and talk to Him. But if you want to see Him, send Him a text message while driving.
لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمد الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.